Speaking of stinks, ladies and gentlemen, we got to cover some of the old favorites, the old heave-ho. The Rep MTG calls for Biden to resign following direct evidence of money laundering, $200K to brother. Okay, first of all, a loan to your brother is not money laundering. Secondly, if I may, and I think I can, for the record, what she is ultimately seeming to propose here, what I've heard a lot of Republicans proposing around this, is that if they didn't have a contract between brothers that say, here's the loan, this is a loan, this is the terms of the loan, and that if you loan a family member money and they pay you back, if you don't have the paperwork around it, you're money laundering. I would love for them to make the case that the federal government wants to oversee every internal family loan. Right? See what I mean? Please make that case to the American people, stupid. Please, for fuck's sake. All right, here we go. By the way, you're watching Hal Sparks Mega Worldwide. Like, subscribe, give a thumbs up, support the show. Tomorrow is the first of the month, so it's a good day to become a Patreon subscriber. Patreon.com/HalSparks. You just do it tonight, and then maybe tomorrow, I don't know, it helps me out, like a cup of coffee level or a little higher, whatever, you think I'm worth. No pressure. Okay, here we go. Also, Venmo.
MTG calls for Biden to resign after direct evidence of money laundering. The Congresswoman called on Biden to step down after the House Oversight Committee,
which is hilarious,
released damning evidence of $200,000 laundered through Joe's bro Jim, right?
No. It's money paid by his brother to him.
Right. Jim Biden had received a payment of that amount from an influence peddling operation
an influence peddling operation, which, by the way, the company that gave money to James Biden, where that money went to Joe, is suing James Biden because they got no help from Joe. I'm not kidding. That's how this came to be. The reason they know about this money is because AmeriCorps, the company that worked with James Biden, loaned him money, and that he ended up paying off a loan that he'd gotten from Joe. He paid him back with money he got from them. If he was peddling influence, or they were under the impression that he was peddling influence, they got none. It's yet another case where it proves the exact opposite of what they've been saying.
Conducted with Hunter Biden. And immediately after receiving the dirty money, he wrote a check to Joe. Now, this money...
First of all, if you've got dirty money, you should launder it. It's filthy anyways. Money has a lot of germs on it, and in some cases, cocaine.
Came from a failing hospital operator named AmeriCorps that was seeking political influence from the Biden family.
Now, you're almost there. Tell me how you know that. Tell me how you know that they were seeking influence. Because they're suing James Biden because they didn't get it.
That, my friends, is called money laundering.
No, that's called bearing false witness or lying by omission.
And bribery. Marjorie Taylor Greene says it's time for Joe to go. And
yeah, but she's been saying that literally since before she got elected and before he actually got sworn in.
She joins us right now. Congresswoman, thank you so much for keeping the heat on them like you always do.
Yeah, that's right. She's so good.
I thought that Joe never took a dime directly from any of these dirty deals. Remember, that's what the corporate media has told us over and over and over again.
Yeah, you still haven't proven that he has.
That's right. And that's also what Joe Biden himself has told us, that he's never taken any money and that he knows nothing about his son's business deals.
James is his brother.
But with the investigation that we have led on the Oversight Committee, we have uncovered real evidence. And that $200,000 check
from his brother
is exactly what you said, Gina. It's money laundering.
Okay, if it's money laundering, work with me, then James is the one laundering it through Joe. Because AmeriCorps didn't want to pay Joe. They paid James, and they didn't get anything from Joe. All right.
And this should be no activity taking place by the President of the United States, the
This is when Trump was president.
former Vice President, or any office holder. As a matter of fact,
Yeah, he wasn't holding office during this time.
most people go to jail when they get caught for money laundering.
Right, which you should notice that Joe Biden's not in jail because you haven't caught him, quote unquote, money laundering.
Joe Biden should resign. And if we can't
Just make my job easier. I can't prove any of this shit. Would he just please step down?
get him to resign, which I'm sure he won't, I am
Right, yeah, I'm sure he won't. Hey, look at that. Look at us agreeing.
all in favor of impeachment. I have been in favor of impeachment ever since Joe Biden became president.
Yeah, that's meaningless.
There's no doubt about that. You have been right at the front of this, right from the very beginning, Congresswoman. You called it, and you knew something was fishy. You smelled it. So,
Well, and if she smells something fishy, in all fairness, she may have just recently shaken hands with Lauren Boebert. Look,
so what about impeachment at this point? Where, now that there's a Speaker of the House, where does the House impeachment inquiry go from here? What's your sense of a time?
I'm gonna go with nowhere, but I'm interested to hear what
Table this evidence. How is this going to proceed? What's your sense?
You're presuming it's going to.
Well, the good news is we are still proceeding with our impeachment inquiry.
That is good news. That's the good news. Almost as much as our Lord Jesus Christ.
As a matter of fact, we've never stopped. We still have more bank statements and records coming in from the.
Very exciting. Yeah. It's like if they took The Untouchables, the movie, and took the last 10 minutes and stretched it into a mini series, and then ultimately Al Capone was found innocent.
Subpoenas that we have sent out, and with Chairman Comer, we are aggressively pursuing, following where the money leads, and that's exactly the best way to investigate it. That's how
it is. It's so, yeah, just follow the money. You know, it worked to get rid of Nixon, so it'll definitely.
How we came across this $200,000 check.
Yeah. Again, no one is impressed. I got to tell you, not a Chinese company, an American company. No evidence whatsoever that they got anything from Joe. As a matter of fact, evidence to the contrary, that even if James was leading them on that they were going to get help from Joe, they never did, and they sued him over it.
And I'll let you know something. There's going to be more of those coming out.
Oh, yeah.
But
really? More duds? Terrific.
What we have to do is we have to make sure that we line up the evidence, because just because.
How about, for the record, can we make a distinguish between what actually is evidence and what's just words?
People like me and people like watching.
There are no people like you, MTG, except maybe the truck driver in Pee-wee's Big Adventure.
This program do believe Joe Biden should be impeached. We have to have all Republicans vote for it. We need 217 votes.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
On the House floor in order to impeach Joe Biden.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
And in order to get them
is that why you're keeping George Santos? Because he's promised
to vote for it, we have to produce the evidence to persuade.
Yeah, that is true. That's the hard part. You're kind of bearing the lead.
Many Republicans to cast that vote for impeachment. As hard as it may seem to us that they won't cast it now, we have to prove it to them and hope.
Yeah, and hey, you'll do it. We believe in you. It's only been fucking 3 goddamn years.
Hopefully that's what we'll be able to do.
Hopefully. Oh, she's been hanging around with Comer. Hopefully. So you got this $200,000 check. You're calling it money laundering. You think he should be in jail, and you're using the word hopefully. The fucking nerve of this, if I may. Say hopefully again, motherfucker. Motherfucker, say hopefully again. Say hopefully again. Say hopefully again. Say hopefully again. Do I stutter, motherfucker? Say hopefully again.
Just a quick follow-up, real quick.
You better not say hopefully.
Did you say that you expect more evidence showing that checks were written to Joe Biden? Is that what you're saying? Just making sure that's what you're saying.
No. You know what she's saying? You dumb son of a bitch? She's, yeah, it's me, Salty Cupcake, a.k.a. Samuel J. Cupcake. She's saying hopefully, motherfucker. Say hopefully again.
Yes, I expect to see that.
Oh, what do you expect? What's expectation? Expectation is you believe something's going to happen, don't you? Don't you? That's right. Something's going to happen. You have an expectation. You know what that is? Sounds an awful lot like hope. Sounds an awful lot like you're trying to find another way to say hopefully again.
Okay.
I'm glad you brought.
What the fuck are you talking about? Okay. Okay. That's what you're saying. You're fucking saying okay to me. Okay? Okay. Say okay again.
Up that 217 number because we've been hearing that number over and over again.
That's because they got 218 people and they need. The fuck's wrong with you?
As this whole speaker.
This also happens to be my area code, ladies.
Debate took place and ultimately the election of a new speaker. But we're not hearing a lot yet out of the new speaker. MTG wanted to give you a chance to tell us what you're hearing. What's he going to do first? When are we going to hear some fireworks out of this?
Okay, let's hear it. I'm excited. Let's hear it. What are, MTG, what are the fireworks?
Well, our new speaker, Mike Johnson,
Our new speaker
hasn't been our speaker for 1 week yet.
Yes, we all know how a calendar works, dumbass.
And I will let you know he's been very busy throughout the past week hiring
It's pronounced bizet.
up staff. The Speaker of the House is a big job. Not only
Is it? Look, how big could it be? Kevin McCarthy did it. Look, you can make it a big job. Obviously, Nancy Pelosi was fantastic.
do they perform duties as Speaker of the House, they also have to manage the entire Capitol, including the security and the visitor center. That's why.
Oh my God. So he's got to stand there all day handing out pamphlets too? That's exhausting.
We always point to Nancy Pelosi for the security failure on January 6th, because the Speaker of the House is in charge of that. It also is a big operation. And so Speaker Mike Johnson has been busy settling into his new role. And we look forward.
He's just settling in. Yeah, it's a lot. Filling the fridge with Perrier and finding the perfect set of indoor shoes so when he Mr. Rogers it in the office, he can put his feet up on the desk without scuffing the fucking thing.
Forward to hearing more from him. We did have a
We do. I do. You do. We all do.
Conference call the other night where.
Oh, shit. Real work. A conference call, you say. You didn't Zoom it?
Where he talked about aid to Israel, talked about the money that Joe Biden wants for Ukraine.
Yeah, that you don't want because you're pro-Russian rape squad. Gotcha.
I'll go ahead and tell you guys I'm against the foreign wars. I've sent no money to Ukraine. And I believe if we're going to send aid to Israel, I'd like to see the Democrats in the Senate pick up the defense and state and foreign ops bills and pass those, because that has $3.8 billion ready to go to Israel to help them out with weapons.
Yeah, but it cuts Ukraine aid.
Defense and their iron.
Because you're basically shooting Peter to pay Paul.
Dome. But the Democrats won't do anything about it, and Joe Biden isn't interested.
Oh, no, they'll pick it up and they'll just put the Ukraine funding back in, and you guys will have to vote for it.
Doing that, he just wants another blank check. Because
no, it's not a blank check. It's actually a specific amount.
Because that's how Joe Biden works.
No, because if he wanted a blank check and that was even possible, he would have gotten it already. Why would he have to go back again if he wants it? Never mind.
He just sends checks to everyone, and of course always ends up providing some sort of political favors to go along with it. And then his family usually is enriched the other way around. So I'd like to...
Ooh, the other way around. Hold on. What the... Hold on. I forgot. Darn. It's a... I'm just... Hi. Happy Halloween. I'm still on the air. I'm still doing my show. Hi. How are you? Are you okay? Oh, good. Hi. Hi, Martha. How are you? I'm sorry. I'm doing a show right now, so I'd love to hang out. But I love you guys. But my chat says hello. There's my mom, everybody. Hey. Say Happy Halloween. Hold on. Say that again. Happy Halloween. There you go. Trick or treat, sweetie. Yes, I'm going to go upstairs after this is over and stare at a bowl of candy. Love you. I'll call you in a bit. Okay, bye. Okay, see you later. Bye. Sorry, you just got to take your mom's call. You got it. Yeah, she just this just you got it.
I'd like to hear more from our speaker about what he's planning to do. I'll continue to vote no.
He's planning to pass a continuing resolution
on money to Ukraine.
Yeah, because you're pro-Putin rape squads. Get it?
There's a lot of evidence that there's serious fraud going on there.
No. The president of Ukraine rooting out fraud is not proof of fraud. It's proof that they are handling fraud. But then, if Marge had been around when Russia initially invaded in 2014, she would have been trying to push to make sure that Russia had taken more land.
Money laundering as well, and that war just needs to end.
Yeah, it just needs to end. You know, it could if Russia would just fuck off.
What about Congresswoman money specifically to Israel? Because on Thursday, it looks like there will probably be a vote on money that would go to Israel, about $14 billion. But the offset here, the offset is to cut $14 billion of IRS funding. What do you make of something like that? Where's your temperature on that right now?
Well, just as I stated before, David, we've got $3.8 billion ready to go to Israel and the defense and
Ooh, 3.8. Easy there, big spender.
State and foreign ops. I believe our border is the problem and the serious issue we should be focusing on.
Yeah, she wants, if we're going to send ATACMS and JDAMs and missiles and lasers and dig a moat and fill it with alligators with frickin' laser beams on their heads, we're going to do it at the southern border.
You know, my platform and policy perspective is America first, of course.
Or shooting American cars first, or allowing mass shootings to escalate so that more Americans are killed while they're just trying to buy fucking groceries or go bowling.
I stand with Israel and our friends.
No, you don't.
And allies over there, and I support them in their
emotionally. It's like thoughts and prayers.
In their war against Hamas, they were attacked horrifically, and they should respond, and they are responding. Israel's also a strong, independent nation, and they're a nuclear.
So they don't need our money.
Armed nation, which
she should. Yeah. So you're suggesting they should just nuke Gaza? How very Christian of you.
Makes them not anybody that can just be pushed around. They're Israel.
Actually, it's kind of difficult if your line is anything but nukes. I mean, you know that's a turning point. It actually does make it harder. And there's an argument that the Iron Dome has lulled the Israelis into a false sense of security about the threat that was growing in Gaza for the longest time, because they figured the Iron Dome will take care of the missiles, and they've kind of become a low hum in the background.
Defense Force is one of the strongest militaries in the world, and I am very
per capita
confident in their ability to defeat Hamas, those evil terrorists. But
those evil terrorists do-badders.
But what I think I want to hear is more details. You see, it's not easily so-called paid for out of the IRS. And the money, the $14 billion, the 87,000 IRS agents have already been unfunded, defunded for the rest of this cycle.
Yeah, just to help Donald Trump, make sure they don't look through his books, or people like him at that level.
And I'd like to hear more about how that works. I think if
yeah, I don't know how it works, and I don't even work there. You spend a lot of time there. Maybe I don't know. Maybe there's a library you go to.
If we're going to take any money and give it to Israel, I could be in support of taking money away from these universities and colleges where these protests.
Yeah, state universities and colleges.
Protests are going on, pro-Hamas protests.
Yeah, defund Harvard. That'll do it. That'll pay for it.
I'd be interested in taking money away from
all 20,000 of them. $20,000.
Say France, that has many different Islamists in their country. There should be no country receiving money from America that is supporting terrorists.
Yeah, I don't think we have a lot of foreign aid going to France. I'm sure we have things we collaborate on funding.
So I want to hear some different ideas.
Yeah. Well, they're certainly not going to come from the space between your ears. That's for fucking sure. Here's a good idea, and this might be nutty. This might just be the way that I lean. But how about just floating this idea that you don't wait for someone else to come up with an idea that you can hear. How about you come up with some on your own, say them, and people will either appreciate them because they actually work, or most likely because of who you are, tell you you're a fucking idiot and you don't know what you're talking about.
Yep.
I like that.
Yep.
So essentially what you're saying is
essentially
there's already a bill that's out there.
Yeah, it's just out there. It's way
that has $3.8 billion funding for Israel in it, but it also funds our border, it sounds like. And you're saying if it's not attached to that, then it should be attached to something else. But as far as writing blank checks from the taxpayers to go anywhere to fund any wars.
Yeah, we don't do that. We don't have a blank check policy fucking anywhere. You do realize there's a fucking, this woman sits on committees, or used to, and this idiot, she's got to know, they do mark these fucking things up. I mean, they're big numbers, but they are actual fucking numbers.
You're saying that's not a good idea because...
It isn't. It's not a good idea to just hand out blank checks. I agree. And if anybody ever did that, I promise we'll bring it up.
Because we have an invasion on our own border. So if...
No, I got to say, as wars go, I'm not afraid of women and children. Yeah, I'm not. They don't scare me, especially when the vast majority of them are sent back to their countries of origin anyways.
Clarify if I got that part right, but the second part of...
You didn't. I'm clarifying. None of this has been right. I don't even know what the fuck he's doing there.
My question is, how can we help you? What phone calls can we make? What can we...
Yeah. Can we hire someone to help you with your wardrobe, or perhaps...
Say, what can we do?
Thank you, Gina. Yeah, let me clarify that. We've passed H.R. 2 out of the House, and it's sitting in the Senate, and that is complete border security for America. The Democrats in the Senate have done nothing with it.
By the way, it's sealing the border up, which would, I mean, the only upside of it would absolutely destroy the state of Texas. I suppose every cloud has a silver lining.
Also passed the defense and the state foreign ops appropriation bills. And those bills contain $3.8 billion for military weapons, ammunition, defense, and also...
Yeah, but they cut all the Ukraine aid, so fuck you.
Replenishment of the Iron Dome
because Israel doesn't need this stuff. I mean, they'll eventually need some. They basically need defensive weapons, but Ukraine actually needs our support. Israel kind of doesn't. The force they're up against is not equal to fucking Russia.
For Israel. That money is specifically for Israel. And the Democrats in the Senate and Joe Biden have done nothing with those bills.
No, they have. I'm sure they've laughed. They've read through them and gone, fuck that.
That's money
that's something.
Could go straight to Israel.
Yeah, straight to Israel. Blank check. Just whatever they want to spend that $3.8 billion on, up to them.
Today.
Not even broken down.
If they would pass them and Joe Biden would sign them into law. And I believe we have to prioritize our border first because we have over 1.5 million gotaways in our country. And many of those could be terrorists that are right here in the homeland.
Yeah, Catholic Guatemalan terrorist babies.
Let me turn real quick to something Israel-related, Congresswoman. Jake Tapper, he's a piece of work. Rashida Tlaib, she's a piece of work. These people really, it's just horrible to hear what they're having to say.
What they're having to say? They're being forced?
Jake Tapper, on CNN the other day.
Thank you, Jess.
Just totally lit into you. He didn't spend any time getting on Rashida Tlaib's horrible, stance and verbiage, but he took his time to go after you. We want to play that and get your reaction. Have a look.
You're never going to believe who the Republican offering this motion to censure Congresswoman Rashida Tlaib is. I want you to take a guess. Go ahead. Take a guess. That's right. It's Marjorie Taylor Greene. And it gets worse, because when you read Greene's resolution, you realize it is written by someone who seems to have learned about the Arab-Israeli conflict maybe 10 minutes before, who maybe didn't even have access to Wikipedia.
Ouch.
And B, while there are plenty of valid criticisms of Congresswoman Tlaib, this resolution twists a bunch of things that she said beyond recognition. And C, the resolution seems much more focused on January 6th than it does on October 7th. Throughout its pages, Marjorie Taylor Greene describes this act of civil disobedience from a bunch of left-wing Jewish groups that are critical of Israel's government, this act as an insurrection. This is not an insurrection. It might be a bunch of folks with whom you disagree. It might be a bunch of people you think are misguided, acting in a way you don't like. But this is not an insurrection. Anti-Semitism is not a cudgel to be used against people for political points, nor is Islamophobia or race.
Yeah, they're playing a big chunk of this shit. I'm surprised. I thought they would slice off a little piece, but he's just dunking on her. So is this the clip that ends with him actually taking his nuts out and lowering them over a green screen, and they're just gonna clip it and put it over her head?
Racism or anti-gay behavior or misogyny or any other kind of bigotry. Just over 3 weeks ago, 1,400 people, mostly Jews, mostly civilians, were slaughtered here in some of the cruelest and most unimaginable ways, in the deadliest day for Jews since the Holocaust. This is not a game.
It's disgusting what he was saying. I want to give you an opportunity.
Oh, it is a game, and they weren't killed in unimaginable ways. I guess you spend a lot of your days, imagining it?
Opportunity to respond. Clearly, it's Tapper Tlaib in 2024. What's your sense?
No, he disagreed with what she was saying, but he said that MTG's slapdash crayons and hammers piece of legislation is a bunch of bullshit, trying to make some Jan 6 political points out of it.
Yeah, he's definitely a Rashida Tlaib apologist, and he's also standing with Hamas and the groups that performed an.
Yeah, that's why he said that the Jews were brutalized. Yeah, that's why he brought that up. It's what any Hamas person would do.
Insurrection into the Capitol complex, coming into the Cannon House office building. Several of them were charged with assaulting police officers. This was not the peaceful group that.
Who gives a shit? They didn't interfere with the workings of government. They sat in the fucking rotunda making noise. They didn't stop the vote. They didn't stop the peaceful transition of power, shithead. There was zero impact of what they did on the greater function of government. Jan 6, they tried to stop the count and switch out the votes for the person who lost.
Jake Tapper showed to pick and chose his video images to show. I'll also let you know, I don't watch Jake Tapper. I don't know him.
I'm sure he's happy to hear that.
Personally, I've never even talked to him. He knows nothing about me.
No, he doesn't. You're right. But he can read, and in looking at your, the amendment, the bill you put forward, it's your censure, I guess, is it a form letter at this point? It looked like shit to him. Maybe you could walk him through it, and you're like, I was just being cute here in this paragraph. Down here, I was like, I misspell words on purpose. It's a thing I do.
So he has no right to assume and lie about my opinions and my beliefs.
No, he's not lying about your opinions or beliefs. He's looking at what you read and inferring it from that. It's not like he's doing it without that document.
Person. So I'm highly offended by Jake Tapper.
Oh dear. You're offended. I would seek to get him canceled then if I were you.
And really, I'm appalled.
By the way, hold on. Hey, Ben, Jesus Christ, man, you got to start talking slower when I call you or whatever. Yeah, your voice is too high pitched. It hurts. What's that phrase you always? Oh yeah, fuck your feelings. That's what it was. It was. Anyways, I know you guys love that shit.
That he would go to such an extent to make sure that he carefully walks the line of defending Rashida Tlaib, the most pro-terrorist, pro-Hamas, anti-Israel, anti-Semitic member of Congress in United States history. And censure is not far enough. This is a woman that should be expelled from Congress. Shame on Jake Tapper. Shame on CNN.
Well, you're using her to get if you believe what she's saying is pro-terrorist or is in its own way a form of insurrection or terrorism, you are attempting to use her to further your anti-Ukraine attitude and push through a bill. So, I mean, if you're riding piggyback on something, you can hardly, claim innocence.
For putting that message out, and shame on anyone that believes those lies.
Well, no.
Well, yeah, I think we can all read your bill. I'll do that later, and then I'll point it out to my folks that are on here because the chat is awesome.
No shame on you, MTG. Anybody that has those views that you just told us and doesn't look at Wikipedia because it's full of liberal malarkey is.
That's right. I don't even, that's such bullshit. Like all the history stuff on there, like none of that stuff about the Israeli-Palestinian conflict they put on there is true. Like those things didn't happen.
A friend of mine, Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene, thank you so much for being with us. Thanks for your fight and for all you do for us out in.
Yes, your struggle with the English language.
Washington, D.C.
Oh, so she left her. They had a kerfuffle, so they just had this as they cut an exit video for her to go. And that's what I'm going to do. It's House Sparks Mega Worldwide. All right. Tomorrow, I think Phil's going to join us again for our second hour. Fingers crossed he'll be with us. And then he might be coming into town, into Vegas before he leaves to go back to Ukraine. So on Thursday, it's a possibility. We'll see you. We'll see. I'll let you know. And if he does, then I'll pick a little moment to live stream it. And then I'm going to, maybe I'll have him come for the Thursday show. And I'll set up something in my other room and we can just kind of sit and have a variation of the show in the room. That would be kind of cool. And then that night I'm going to, get him tickets to see my girls show. I think I know somebody who might be able to get us in. Which is, of course, Ladylike. It's at the Virgin Hotel and Casino. If you're in town for the Formula One stuff, which I know most of you will be, it's right there. I mean, you can go there, enjoy the show, and then, it's right on one of the corners. It's very exciting. You could be 8, 10, 15 yards from a tire when it flies off and kills someone in the stands. It'll be great. Anyways, much love. Take care of yourselves and take care of somebody else. It's very strong. It's very possible Phil won't be on tomorrow, but I'll figure it out. I'll text with him because he might just be here on Thursday and do it that way. But either way, take care of yourself and take care of somebody else. And remember, if you're ever confronted with a choice that you believe is the lesser of two evils, choose less evil. See you later.